So in this video, we're just going to talk through how to get the StatCrunch output that we just used in that example. So again, if you have the handout printed, which I hope you do, the StatCrunch directions are at the very end here for our dependent or paired samples. Now for this one, I don't actually have the data, so for this one, we're just going to be following that summary information option. So we're going to get our StatCrunch opened here. I'm just going to open a blank page. I don't actually have to have data. Then as it says, we're going to go to Stat, T Statistics, 1 sample. And then we're going to choose the with summary option since that's what we said we had. We're going to put in our summary information. So I need that sample mean difference, which was 1.8. That sample standard deviation of the differences, which was 6.5. And our sample size of 40. Since it's a hypothesis test, I'm going to leave the hypothesis test button clicked. Then we want to make sure our hypothesis matches what our hypotheses actually looked like. So our null hypothesis did have the value 0 inside of it, so I do not need to change that number. For the alternative, after looking at wanting to see that students wanted to gain weight and that we had that order of subtraction as December minus August, that's how we chose that greater than sign. Then at this point, I just hit compute, and you see the same values that we got. Now, as a reminder, how is this alternative hypothesis actually used? If I were to switch this to be a less than sign, what would have changed in my answer? Well, let's go back and look at where we actually use this sign. Now, because of this alternative being a greater than sign, that told me how to shade my picture. But now that we're not using the table, it's hard to realize we're really using that sign. So it told me to shade to the right. If I would have had the less than sign, then my picture would have been shaded to the left, which would then actually change my p-value. More specifically, how is it going to change that p-value? Well, it's actually going to be 1 minus this answer, or going to be 0.9561 when I do that, just because I shaded the opposite way. And so we can show you again that that sign, the only thing that's going to change in your output is the p-value. And so making sure you have the correct sign when you go to StatCrunch is very important, or you're going to get the incorrect p-value to go with it. Again, how we did that, so Stat, T Statistics, 1 sample with summary, put in all that information that we already were given. You have to have that if you don't have the data. Make your hypotheses look like they look in step 1 and hit compute.